Welcome to the Custodial Support Forum, where we provide issues and solutions related to one of the largest problems in America, child support. Hi, my name is Kai Patterson, and I'm your host. In this episode, we're going to discuss issues related to dealing with a non-custodial parent that refuses to pay child support but can. And we're going to show you how to obtain a child support enforcement order to be able to seize and liquidate the assets of a non-custodial parent.
Are you owed child support?
Does the non-custodial parent of your children avoid your calls, hide their income and assets, or has relocated to prevent paying child support?
The Custodial Support Foundation provides you with the services to begin receiving the child support your children need.
Call 855-851-HELP now to receive the help your children deserve.
Welcome. According to the Office of Child Support Enforcement, 75% of the non-custodial parents that owe child support arrears can afford to pay but don't. To discuss this issue, we have a panel of individuals with diverse backgrounds that know this issue quite well. We have Diane Hernandez, who spent 4 years as an investigator for the 9th District Court in Orlando, Florida. We have Antoinette Dismukes, a custodial parent that's owed over $62,000 in child support arrears. And we have Alexandra Stremler, who is a family court lawyer with more than 19 years experience with issues relating to child support. Welcome.
Hi, Guy.
Why can't the Office of Child Support Enforcement collect on so many non-custodial parents?
More times than not is because that non-custodial parent has gotten very savvy. They manipulate the system.
We're talking about custodial parents and non-custodial parents with child support orders.
Correct.
Right. According to the Office of Child Support Enforcement, 12.5 million custodial parents have child support orders but are still owed arrears. Are we talking about that number, the number of non-custodial parents that are that savvy? Is it that many?
Yes, it is that many because you have a lot of non-custodial parents who, okay, let's go over the process that the Office of Child Support have. They garnish your wages.
Correct.
If you don't report your wages, there's nothing to garnish. They suspend your driver's license. If you're not driving and you're taking public transportation, you have no need for that. If you're not traveling or your job does not require for you to have a passport, that eliminates that as well. And what's the last one?
So we're talking about methods
tax
of enforcement.
return.
We're talking about methods of enforcement.
If you're not filing your tax return, then what can they take? Nothing. So you have people out there working under illegal names, you understand, who are paying themselves 1099.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, and you know, there's a whole other side of this.
Okay.
And that would be the numbers, as you just said, are so big.
Right.
And while there are government agencies that do collections, as you pointed out with the wage garnishment, things like that, they do not have the resources to be going after and filing motion after motion for enforcement of litigants' rights and to do things like levy.
And also, if that non-custodial parent keeps changing jobs,
right,
then there's no way to keep, you know, to garnish those wages because he changes jobs. And then he's supposed to report that. And if you don't know that he's changed jobs, then your support is just cut off.
And the other thing is that I believe that custodial parents, once they get their order of support.
Because a non-custodial parent is she now.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I didn't say he or she. I'm saying the individual.
We got custodial parent, dad. Okay. For example. Well, custodial dad has his child support order. He legitimately believes in the system, does everything right, goes to all the meetings he's supposed to do, fills out all the forms he's supposed to fill out. He gets his order. Mom decides she's going to, worst case, leave the state. She doesn't care. She's not going to pay. What does that leave dad to do? Now he's got to go back to court.
I mean, the non-custodial. So in your example, the custodial parent was a
Was it a guy?
Was it
a male.
I'm just
for
saying,
clarity,
custodial parent
correct.
does all the right things.
Okay.
Custodial parent, we know legally that they've got recourse, but the reality of going through the channels that exist with the government are difficult, long, for many reasons, intimidating on the paperwork, difficult to go back to court, I've got to get a lawyer, I have to... And then
also,
people just often give up.
If they're working, how many days can you actually take off to keep going down there following these motions, or going to court and they don't show up?
Okay, now let's talk about motions, because for our viewers, if you're owed child support, you have a child support order, you're owed arrears, you can file a motion to get an enforcement order to collect those arrears, correct?
Yeah, and if I can just back up quickly, just to explain what a motion is. It's a term of art. Motion is once you have an order from a court saying you have a right to X, Y, or Z, in order to modify or enforce if it isn't happening, you have to file, and it's called a motion. What it is you're asking the court to do something to effectuate your order. But I mean, just in case anybody doesn't know what a motion is, we throw that word around.
Correct.
I just want to make sure everybody knows.
It goes right back to, okay, let's say I'm not getting my child support. I'll go in to file for enforcement, and I don't know where he works now.
And not even where he works. You also have other situation where the person may own their own business and pay themselves. They work under 1099.
Okay, we talked about that.
They also have estates or houses under siblings' name.
Exactly.
So a car under their mom's name.
Yes.
You know, you have.
And this is why I say parents, male or female, they become very savvy because people are talking to each other, whether they be in a hair salon or the barbershop, and they're sharing war stories and they're saying what they did and all this other nonsense.
Getting paid cash underneath the table that they don't have to, report these things. So these are different ways and avenues in which a non-custodial parent can
under the radar.
Exactly. In the child support enforcement office because they're so overwhelmed, because the volume and the problem is
and
as
limited
large as
with resources.
It's very difficult, and they're in limited resources. And we're here, or in this sense, there needs to be a holding hands.
So what you're saying is a custodial parent needs to have someone hold their hands. But okay, let's
not going to happen.
But let's talk about some of the solutions. Okay, you brought up the fact that a custodial parent can file a motion. Okay, but the question here is, if they file the motion based upon what you said, if they don't have the information to be able to effectuate or allow that motion to be carried out, the chances of collecting are still slim, correct?
Exactly, and that's why you have an inflation of non-custodial parents who are not paying child support.
Well, the other thing is this is, back to my point about judicial resources.
Okay.
Correct.
A lot of folks know, well, many do, some don't, but there are avenues to find out assets, to find out if houses in the name of grandma, right,
sister, mother.
Those things can be investigated.
Absolutely.
And the issue is that unfortunately a lot of custodial parents don't realize that there are resources out there available to do that.
But it also, you're talking about additional money,
That's
more
right.
expenses. Because when you start talking about an investigator, you start talking about a collections agency or company. That's more money that the custodial parent
Not to
who
mention
is
an
doing
attorney
it by
to file
themselves,
the motion
exactly.
and go argue the motion.
This, I mean, it looks unobtainable.
Right, and I think that that's what discourages many people going through the process. I mean, I
Yes,
think that's
it does.
exactly why people are deterred from doing it. But as Diane points out, there are folks that have the assets, like, the Bowie Kuhn dumped all of his money into a house, filed bankruptcy, and the house is worth millions of dollars. And, there's a lot of guys out there like that. This is not just, mom making no money, dad making no money, everybody's on unemployment. This is your next door neighbor. This is everybody.
Correct. Working class people.
Would you say the majority of the custodial parents don't know that they can get an order to be able to seize and liquidate the assets of a non-custodial parent?
Definitely.
They don't know?
Knowledge is key. Definitely they are not aware.
Okay, they're not
because
aware.
for me to sit here with over 62,000 in arrears, I definitely was not aware. And the Office of Child Support did not give me any information. The Office of Child Enforcement did not give me any information to even say, well, these are some of the things that you can possibly do. Now, maybe within a legal, I know, but within a legal right,
correct.
You know, I know from a legal obligation, they may not want to say, well, you can go here and go there. But at the same time, as a custodial parent, you know to file. Okay, then you file, you get your order, and then he's not paying. Then you go back to court, and then they give you another order for them to pay for enforcement. Right. And then from there, you don't know anything else.
Well, listen.
Why? Because no one is sharing information with you to say, all they say is, well, if you don't have the information, then we can't help you. We're not an investigator. Right. And this is what they say. We're not a private investigation service.
We're going to have to cut this short, because what we're going to do now is we're going to actually provide step-by-step solutions for custodial parents that are owed child support arrears. And we're going to also not only provide you with step-by-step solutions, but the resources that will help you get an enforcement order to be able to seize and liquidate a non-custodial parent's assets cost effectively, something that you can afford. And believe it or not, for those custodial parents that are not employed, there are other resources out here to allow you to get an enforcement order at no cost.
Are you owed child support?
Does the non-custodial parent of your children avoid your calls, hide their income and assets, or has relocated to prevent paying child support?
The Custodial Support Foundation provides you with the services to begin receiving the child support your children need.
Call 855-851-HELP now to receive the help your children deserve.